Hi, I'm CeCee Torres for IdeateTV, and I'm here with the creator and writer of Latina superhero graphic novels called A La Brava, Kayden Phoenix. Welcome, Kayden. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's good to see you. Thanks for being with us. So tell us about A La Brava, this whole universe that you've created.
Well, it's the universe of Latina superheroes, like you were saying, and they're all from different heritages. I have 3 books are done already. So Jalisco,
Wow.
Mexicana, Just Folklorico, Blades Come Out of Her Dress, like that, and then Loquita just came out May 5th of this year. She's my supernatural. She's my teen detective in a supernatural world. She's Cubana Boricua. She goes up against demons, and that's Baika. She's my high schooler. She's my young one, my cute one. And this is
Cute.
Santa. She's the political one out of all of them. She lives in a border town in Texas, a made-up town called Wexo. And either like a luchador or Zika, she ends up going against Ice. And this is Ice. I personified her. So Irene Chavez Estevez. And she is the front runner on the conservative side. So Santa joins the domino side, which is the Democratic side, learns patriotism, ends up taking down the detention centers, of course, because Ice starts putting people in them. And the other two, sorry, I talk really fast. The other two is Luca Chicana. She's my chola from East LA. I'm from East LA. And she does trafficking or takes down trafficking. And then the last one, which are both being worked on right now, is Bandita. She's my Dominican gunslinger from New York. And she's a gunslinger, so she has bullets. She can ricochet bullets. And so that's her thing. She ends up taking down domestic violence. So all very social justice grounded and very dark themes.
And it sounds like you have a very diverse group of characters that you created. You said you're one from East LA. I'm a Texas Chicana, so I can resonate with that. So how did you come up with so many different diverse characters and such a big representation of the Latina culture?
Because equality is important to me. Like my first thing was like, okay, I want to see Latino superhero on the big screen. I was, it was years ago when we had the big screen and they're coming back, right? But I was just like, okay, if I can write anything I want and in pretend land that someone's gonna buy my scripts, and I was like, Latino superhero. So my first one was Jalisco. That was my easiest one to think of. And then I was like, if I make more than one, if I make 5, I increase my chances that one of them will get on the big screen, which is the goal. And
That's
so I was like, okay, if I have 5, they're a team. If they're a team, they're in a universe, and it just kept going on like that and piling on and piling on. And so why heritages is because they're important. Like obviously I'm Chicana, so that's all I know, which is why Santa's first generation. She is literally I just call her Latina. Like she's not specific per se, but like she's all of us, right? Like she's learning patriotism. She takes down Ice because I would take down Ice if I had the possibility, if I could, regardless that I'm not first generation because I'm not. But they're all very important. And just everyone, there's this whole big thing of talking like in the film industry is like, okay, should Selena have been or J-Lo should have been Selena or any, and we hear that stuff left and right with in the Heights, and all that extra things. And like, and I see both sides, and it's one of those like, yes, your heritage is absolutely important and it should be seen, but like we get so little bit of parts, like that's like no wonder we're all fighting for the same little part, and it's stuff like that. So it's like, okay, this one's absolutely Dominican, this one's absolutely Mexican, because it's important, just to me. As much as I can, obviously I didn't cover everyone, but as much as I can, I will cover heritages.
Absolutely. I know the statistics are just incredible when you hear what small percentage of Latinos are actually seen on film or seen on comic books. What was that growing up and just not seeing yourself, like you said, on screen or any other form of media?
I'm lucky because I didn't see it like that. And I think it is a lot of it me being naive, which is absolutely true. And then another part is because I didn't see myself as different. So, like when you go into the real world, like actual work, then you see it, like film industry, then you saw it instantly. But like in college and just even like when I was doing marketing, I didn't see the difference. But like when I was small, when I watch a movie, go to the movies and, I'm millennial. So I grew up with all the best action films and all the best Disney.
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky, which is why that's the conglomeration of all of my stuff is just very pretty, but they're actors and they're fighters. But like you saw a guy save the building for Christmas or whatever it is, or, and it's just like, he did it because he's a good person. He's, so I base people on their character, not, oh, he's the guy, that's why he did it. Like it didn't make sense. That just makes no sense to me.
Right.
You do it because you have a good character and you have a good heart. And so that's how I judge people. And so like, I wasn't in that sense like, oh, where's the Latina? Same thing. Also, I'm very naive, that I was also, I definitely give that, I was very, very sheltered as well. but I judge people based on their character, regardless of gender or skin color or sexuality or identity, you know, and it's just that. So that's the way I always seen it. And then obviously thing, when I went to the entertainment career industry, you know, like then you see like, oh, we're not represented. Oh, 1,300 films are made for one Latina director to be hired, you know, and then you see all that really horrible oppression and inequality, which is why I'm fighting for it, you know, now because I'm very aware of it. But growing up, to be very honest with you, I did not see it. Which same thing, you know, pros and cons.
Yeah. So are you hoping to change that now with your stories to give young Latina girls the opportunity to see themselves represented, and not only represented, but seeing themselves doing pretty cool things like taking on ice and all the different powers that your characters have?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the little girls, they light up. Like, honest to be very honest, like like I said, it was beginning, it was for me because I wanted a movie, but really it's for the girls now. I guess for the Latinas and really just Latina kids in general. But like I have this doll. She's my Jalisco. She's really a little that. I have this Jalisco doll my friend made me because I like
Awesome.
I like Barbies as well as everything else. And so she made this for me, you know, and it's just like the girls run up and they stare, you know, and it just gives me a big smile. Or they'll look at the books and they just smile and they start reading it you know, at the table, you know, and that's what it's actually about. So that's the bigger purpose of it now.
Yeah.
Because they are the future, right? Like obviously other adults like it too, which is great. But you know, like it's the Latina kids are the future.
Yeah, so it's stories for everyone though. It
Yeah.
seems like it. And you also mentioned your superheroes have a very distinct set of superpowers. Also, do you want to talk about some of the superpowers that you gave them?
Absolutely. So two of them have skills, and I still call them superheroes, but two of them are skills. So like say Batman, right? He has no actual powers. He's just a rich guy with gadgets. So mine are not rich, but Jalisco dances folklorico. She has blades coming out of her dress. So I call it, you know, that's a
There
skill.
you go.
So she can go like that and it shoots out as well, or she goes like that, like an ola, and then it deflects the bullets that are attacking her. So she's a skill. Loquita fights supernatural. So she's also a fighter. She knows MMA and parkour, so she mixes them together. But she fights supernatural. She can see demons and ghosts and goblins and ghouls. And if she touches somebody, they can see them as well, just for that time being. So that is her power. Let's say Santa has divine strength, so she's the saint. She always wants to be good, but she's very clumsy, and she always finds herself in situations where she has to fight. Like she'll never be her saint, you know, like that's kind of like the joke of it. And so that's the comedic part because hers is so political. But she's divine strength. She will always survive. You can't kill her spirit. That's Santa. But Santa, she's a brawler. She can throw somebody across the room. Like she has divine strength. And then Bandita is my other one that's skilled. I just keep looking at the pictures all over my room.
Yeah.
She's my gunslinger, so she can ricochet bullets. So think of like billiards. Like if she points her guns this way, they'll hit the wall and ricochet around the
That's
obstacle
awesome.
person. So really fun, kind of like Wanted, because I Wanted with the curved bullet is really smart, but they did it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, with something similar. And then the last one is Ruka. She has instant karma. And so Veruca, it's pretty much say you trip her, whether it's accidental or not accidental. She'll do something very chola-y, like she'll like check her hoop earrings or move her ring, and then you will trip instantly, right? And so like she does that type of brujeria type magic, but that's instant karma. So same, they're all very different. There's nothing like wow, like none of them fly, none of them are aliens, none of them are just way out there. They're within reason. They're very grounded.
Yeah, if only we could have that superpower, with the earring. I would love that. So, where do your ideas come from? Because first of all, I love the names. Like the names are so creative, and if you are, with the background of Hispanic heritage, Latina culture, you're familiar with most of these names. So I love that you incorporated that into your stories. But where did you get all these ideas from?
Just off the top of my head, honestly. They just kind of came from when I was thinking of my 5 at the same time. So same thing, they had to be different, distinct enough because they're all very distinct from each other, but they all together, they make a good team, right? But they're distinct from each other. So like the one with the dress, she's the only one wearing a dress because I wanted to get away from like the stereotype that girls wear dresses or they have to wear dresses, but she's folklorico, she has to wear a dress. But everyone else wears jeans or wears pants, right? It's one of those, it's like, it's making a point. And I do think about that stuff, but where did it just honestly, they came from my head. Like, and it came from what I know. Like my dad used to live in Texas in El Paso. So that's why Santa is the border town of Texas, right? Like it's a little nod to them. I grew up watching a lot of Western movies because my grandpa, I grew up watching everything, but Western because my grandpa, so that's Bandita, you know? And so they're little nods, the ghost stories that I always heard because my family loves ghosts.
Right.
And so I always grew up with a bunch of scary stories.
Yes.
So that's Loquita, right? Because they love it and they always tell it every family gathering.
Yes.
You know, I don't like them, but they do. But you know, that's Loquita. So they all, you know, Flocorico, my mom does Flocorico. And that was why that was the easiest one. So I was like, great, I'll make a superhero that dance Flocorico. You know, just add the blade. So
were you a fan of the traditional comic book superhero, the female characters? Were you a fan of them originally?
I never read them. I actually never read any comic books, to be fair, of of anything. I didn't grow up with comics. It wasn't my medium. I grew up something with films. I grew up with a lot of feature films and
Movies,
TV here and there, but a lot of films, like especially the old classic ones. I'm not against comics. I do read them now. When I got into it, of course, I had to research them, and so I researched online what are the best comics, you know, and like what makes a comic, of course, as well. But you know, like I read the great ones, as they call it, like The Killing Joke and Watchmen, you know, like pretty much anything Alan Moore, V for Vendetta, you know, and you see why it's so great. So obviously I understand it. I like storytelling. They're just stills, right, as opposed to moving pictures. That's the way I break it down. I'm not against them. It's fine. I'm like, it's just it's another form of storytelling is the best way.
So you weren't really a fan of theirs or built upon that, or the way they portrayed women traditionally in comic books?
Well, that has to do with the times. So I do have a Wonder Woman omnibus and I do have a Batgirl omnibus. And so Wonder Woman opens up the first issue. It's all about her in love with Stephen Trevor, you know, and it's so horrible, you know, because it's not the Wonder Woman that it's not Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman. It's just literally, she's just all obsessed with him. And so she pretends to be a nurse just to hang out with him and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, this is horrible, you know, to me, because I was expecting so much more. But then you go back and you're like, okay, when did Wonder Woman came out? You know, like I'm, you know, in the 60s or the 70s, you know, so like that was what it was. It was more of a romance comic book. It wasn't a superhero comic book. Whereas Batgirl came out in the 60s, and like the first episode, she's already dressed as Batgirl. She's going to Halloween, she's going to a party, you know, and then she just ends up saving the day, you know, and of course Batman comes in XYZ. So like that one's much more fun, you know, and so I'm much more Batgirl than I am, honestly, Wonder Woman.
There you go.
But like she's already a superhero, she knows how to fight, like, and it's great. So no, I don't necessarily follow them. I do, a lot of the stuff I do know is from the movies. So obviously, you know, like Marvel and DC is trying to catch up, but like they're going, you know, like, and I base my origin stories off, okay, old world, new world, old world, and, you know, based off structure, writing structure is what I base things off of.
What was it like seeing your characters come to life? I know you had a team, you worked with an artist and everything to create them. What was it like working with them and to finally see the actual product?
It's so much fun. My artists, they're so different, and they're very entertaining because I'm not them, you know, and so like I'm very brighter and serious, and they're very fun and like outgoing, you know, and bubbly. Some of them are really bubbly, and so like it's great because, you know, I get to obviously see them and talk to them, or just talk to them. I don't see them. Some of them, everything's remote, but like you see their vision, and it's their vision plus my vision put together, and so like these two are the same, right? So like this is the same artist, which is Eva Cabrera. She's amazing. She does the art comics, the Veronica and Kim comics, which is why, you know, like she's fast and she's like, let's do this angle. And I was like, great, right? Because she understands depth better than I do in regards to comics, which is really amazing. I understand obviously angles, but she's an industry pro. So like she's been around and she knows what she's doing. Great. Amanda's a little bit on the newer side, but she does know what she's doing. She's animation. So she's doing this one, El Ruca, and which is the next book that's coming out. And so it's much more animated, like they're more cartoony in that sense, whereas Eva's more like manga anime style, you know, and that's fine. And my new artist, Fanny, is doing Bandita, and she's like, I can do anything, which is great because she just graduated from like animation school, you know, and like, so it's just really, I enjoy their personalities. And it's just, everything's a collaboration. So I'm very fortunate.
Oh, well, they look great. What was it like having to work remotely? You mentioned because of COVID, did it affect how you do business, how you do your work?
No, it's the same. That's it's literally the same. I'm at home writing on my computer. They're at home writing, you know, sketching on their pads. Like it's literally the same. A lot of my artists are in Mexico, so it's not like I meet them anyway. I don't have an office regardless.
There you go.
So honestly, it is the same in regards to workflow. There's extra, you know, personal issues that people have to deal with. I get that. But other than that, it's literally the same.
Sounds like you're keeping busy. You have new books coming out. You're doing the San Diego ComicCon panel. And if people want to find out more of your work, where can they find you?
At LatinaSuperheroes.com, you will see a little bio of each of the artists, as well as, you know, the little bit of the summaries of each book. And then my Instagram is at Latina Superheroes.
Do you have anything else that you have coming up?
I have Jalisco coming out in Spanish, because Jalisco does take place in Mexico, of course. And also just because they're all in English, all my books right now are in English. So it's just important to have Jalisco in Spanish as well, because it does have to do with the femicide, the Mujeres Lejadas, as I was talking about earlier. So that's a Kickstarter is actually going to be up, I believe in a week or so is the Kickstarter, just for printing cost. And then Ruca comes out in winter. And then Bandita comes out early next year. A La Brava is early next year as well. That's the team one. But yeah, and then I have Latina Princesses also coming out next year. My first one is an Aztec princess called
Wow.
Chica. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. You're gonna be busy
Yes.
all until next year, which is good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I was gonna ask you if you could have, I know you said your characters have more skills than superpowers. If you could have one certain skill or superpower, what would it be?
Oh wow. I like, somebody asked this on Facebook a long time ago. They're like, think of the stupidest ones. And someone said, if every time I put my hand in my pocket, I'd come out and there'd be money in it. And I'd be like, that's the best power ever. Right? Because you can literally pay off anything and everything in the world. So I would probably, that would be my answer, is just put my money.
One hand in the pocket and like a little genie, just making money.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, honestly, I'd give it away. But yes, like that would be amazing.
That is a good one. Anything else that you want to add, Kayden, before we let you go?
Just thank you. I appreciate everyone's support. Like I'm very, very fortunate. And they're moving, like same thing. I'm very, independent, etc. But they are moving, and so I do appreciate everyone's supports and everyone's words as well on social media.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you again for what you're doing and just bringing that representation of these Latina super cool women to the page and bringing them to life.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I want to thank you all for watching. For IdeateTV, I am CeCee Torres.